This is the story of a woman who was destroyed twice, once by a god who violated her, and once by a goddess who punished her for it. This is the story of Medusa, the monster the world remembers, and the victim the world forgot. Long before her name became a synonym for horror, Medusa was simply a girl, not a goddess, not immortal. Mortal, fragile, human in every way that mattered. Except for one thing. She was breathtaking. Ancient poets would later write that of the three Gorgon sisters, only Medusa was born mortal, and only Medusa was born beautiful. Her sisters, Stheno and Euryale, were monstrous from birth, but Medusa had hair like spun bronze catching firelight, a face that stopped conversations, eyes that men said they could drown in. She did not ask to be beautiful. She did not ask for the attention that beauty summoned, unbidden from every corner of the ancient world. But beauty, in the world of gods and men, was never simply a gift. It was a target painted onto her skin. Medusa served as a priestess in the temple of Athena, goddess of wisdom, of war, of justice. It was considered one of the highest honors a mortal woman could hold. Priestesses of Athena took vows of chastity, devoting their bodies and their lives to the goddess's service. Medusa walked those marble halls in white robes, tending sacred flames, believing, as any devoted servant believes, that her devotion would be honored, that the goddess she served would, if nothing else, protect what belonged to her. She could not have known that her faith would become the very thing that destroyed her. Poseidon, god of the sea, god of earthquakes, god of a temper as vast and merciless as the ocean he ruled, saw Medusa and wanted her, not admired her, not desired her in the way that leads to courtship, to choice, to consent. He wanted her the way a storm wants a shoreline, to take, to claim, to leave in ruins. He did not approach her in the outside world. He did not wait for her beyond the temple's threshold. He came for her inside Athena's own sacred sanctuary, on the cold marble floor beneath the goddess's watching statue, and he forced himself upon her. Picture it, because the ancient world did not flinch from picturing it, and neither should we. A girl in white robes, dragged down before an altar that was supposed to be her sanctuary, screaming into a silence that no one answered, the candles burning, the incense still curling toward the ceiling, as if nothing sacred had been shattered. Poseidon left. Medusa remained on the floor of the temple, shaking, violated, alone. In the one place on earth she believed she was safe. She had done nothing wrong. She had broken no vow. She had fought. She had screamed. She had begged. And none of it mattered, because Poseidon was a god, and gods took what they wanted. If there was any justice left in the world, it should have found Poseidon in that moment. It did not. Athena descended into her temple and found not the god who defiled her sanctuary, but the girl who bled upon its floor. And Athena's fury did not fall on Poseidon at all. It fell on Medusa. Perhaps Athena could not touch Poseidon, a fellow Olympian, powerful, untouchable by her wrath, without consequence. Perhaps it was easier, in the cruel arithmetic of the gods, to punish the mortal than the immortal. Whatever the reason, Athena looked upon the trembling, violated girl before her and declared her unclean, declared that Medusa had defiled the temple with her body, as though the crime had been committed by her, not against her. And so Athena cursed her. Medusa's radiant hair, the hair men had written poems about, writhed and thickened into serpents, hissing, twisting, alive with venom. Her warm, brown eyes turned into something ancient and merciless, eyes that no living being could look upon without turning instantly, irreversibly to stone. Her soft skin hardened, taking on a pale, scaled sheen. Every trace of the girl who had once knelt in devotion at Athena's altar was burned away and replaced with something the world would only ever call monster. Imagine that moment, feeling your own body rebel against you, feeling your hair move on your scalp, feeling your own eyes become a weapon you can never again control. Medusa did not simply become ugly. She became something no one could ever look at again, something no one could ever love again, something no one could ever touch again without dying. Isolation is a curse, but this was isolation given flesh. This was loneliness weaponized into a life sentence. Her sisters, Stheno and Euryale, wept for her. The only two beings left in the universe who could look upon her without dying, for their own monstrous births had made them immune, and even they could offer her nothing but grief. Medusa fled, or perhaps she was exiled, the myths disagree, to a desolate island at the edge of the known world, a place where cliffs met an unforgiving sea, where the wind screamed the way she could no longer scream without turning her own reflection to stone. She built her home among statues, not statues of marble carved by loving hands, but statues of men, hunters, soldiers, the arrogant and the merely unlucky, who had wandered too close and made the mistake of meeting her eyes. Each one frozen mid-motion, some with swords raised, some with their mouths open in a scream that would echo forever in silence. Medusa walked among her petrified visitors like a curator in a museum of her own tragedy, and every single one was a reminder. This is what I have become. This is what was done to me. This is what I now do to others, whether I wish to or not. Did she weep? The myths do not often ask that question, too consumed with her horror to consider her heartbreak. But imagine it anyway. A woman alone on a wind-swept rock, staring at her own hands, wondering if there was still a girl somewhere beneath the scales, sobbing until her whole body shook, and knowing that even her tears, if seen, could kill. Word of the Gorgon spread across the ancient world, the way horror always does, mutated, exaggerated, stripped of context. No one told the story of the temple. No one told the story of Poseidon. They told the story of a monster on an island who turned men to stone, and men, as men so often do, decided that monster needed to die, and that killing her would make them heroes. Enter Perseus, son of Zeus, tasked by a jealous king with an impossible mission: bring back the head of Medusa, or die trying. The gods, the same gods who had cursed her, who had done nothing to protect her, now armed her killer. Hermes gave him winged sandals. Athena, in a final and almost unbearable cruelty, gave Perseus a polished bronze shield so that he might look upon Medusa's reflection rather than her eyes, and survive where countless men had turned to stone. The goddess who had disfigured her now handed a mortal man the exact tool needed to end her. Perseus crept across her island in silence. He found her sleeping, truly sleeping, vulnerable, perhaps for the first time in years, unguarded, her serpent hair coiling gently with her breath, her monstrous form, finally, briefly, at rest. He did not wake her. He did not offer her a trial, a word, a single moment of mercy or acknowledgement of what had been done to her. He raised his sword, watching only her reflection in his shield, and in one motion, he severed her head from her body. From the wound, from her violated, cursed, exhausted body, two beings sprang forth instantly: Pegasus, the winged horse of impossible beauty, and Chrysaor, a golden warrior, Poseidon's children. Even in death, even in decapitation, the story could not let her escape him. Her very last act on this earth produced the offspring of the god who had started this entire tragedy in the first place. Perseus lifted her severed head, her face frozen in an expression the myths rarely describe with any tenderness, and carried it away as a trophy, a weapon, a tool he would use again and again to turn his enemies to stone. Her death did not end her use to others. Even in death, her suffering became someone else's convenience. Athena, in the final twist of this tragedy, took Medusa's severed head and mounted it upon her own shield, the Aegis, where it would remain forever, a permanent decoration on the armor of the goddess who had cursed her in the first place. The victim's face, frozen in horror, forever displayed as a symbol of the very goddess's power. Stand back from the myth for a moment and look at what actually happened. A young woman was assaulted in a place that was supposed to protect her. She was punished, not the man who hurt her. Punished for a violation she never asked for and could not have prevented. She was transformed into something so horrifying that no living being could bear to look at her, isolated on a barren rock at the edge of the world. And when a man finally came for her, he did not come to free her from her curse. He came to kill her, decapitate her, and turn her head into a weapon and a trophy. For thousands of years, the world told this story and called Medusa the monster. But look closer, and you will see the oldest injustice in human history, wearing the mask of mythology. A woman blamed for the violence done to her, punished for surviving, and finally destroyed by the very people who should have protected her. Medusa was not born a monster. She was made one, first by a god who took what was never his, and then by a goddess who could not or would not direct her fury where it truly belonged. Perhaps that is why her story has endured for 3,000 years, not because we fear her, but because somewhere beneath the serpents and the stone-turning eyes, we recognize her. We recognize the girl who did nothing wrong. We recognize the punishment that fell on the wrong person. We recognize, in her frozen, monstrous face, a grief that never got the chance to heal. Medusa did not choose to become a monster. The world chose it for her. End.